Now, life cycle of an object. Now, so in this program we have 3 objects. Each object has a different scope. One object is global in nature, one object is local to a function, and one object is local to a particular block of statements. So, how does a compiler identify when each object ceases to exist and when each object starts to exist? So, here you are having this test class, you are opening the class body. So, this is nothing but a constructor because it is having the same name as the class name. You are opening the constructor function, and here you are not having any initialization, you are simply printing one line constructor invoked. Now, this is generally not done in constructors. Constructors have to initialize values. Why I am using this term is, when you see the output, you should be able to identify that the constructor was invoked, because our main aim of giving you this program is to know when the constructor is invoked in a program. So, that is why in constructor and destructor I have used the terms like this: constructors invoked, destructors invoked, so that you will know when an object starts to exist and when it ceases to exist. So, in this constructor function I am displaying to the user that the constructor has been invoked. I am closing the constructor function. Then here I am declaring the destructor tilde symbol, again the same name as the class test. Inside that I am printing the statement destructor invoked. I am closing the destructor function and I am closing the class. So, if you see in this class function I am having only 2 functions, class test. One is constructor and one is the destructor. I am not doing any other operation. So, in this you will be able to identify when the constructor is invoked and when the destructor is invoked. Now, always the compiler starts executing the program or compiling the program only from the main function. So, after it sees that hash include iostream.h, it will immediately search for the main function. So, if you see here the class is ending, here I am creating one object. Test is the name of the class followed by the object name. So, test is the name of the class followed by the object name. So, the first object that I am creating is OB1. But how does the compiler identify it? After iostream.h, compiler will come to this main function. It will search whether there is any data between the class ending and the beginning of the main function. So, when it sees this test OB1, it will identify that it is outside the class, because the class is ended over here. The class is already ended here, main is starting only over here. So, this object that is created is in between the class and the main function. So, it will assign a global scope to that particular object. Global scope in the sense it is like a global variable. We have seen what is a global variable, something that is available throughout the entire program. So, the compiler will assign global scope to this OB1 object. That means this object will continue to exist till the program completes its execution. So, the starting of the constructor is here. So, the constructor is invoked whenever an object is created. So, when this object is created by the user and the compiler sees this particular statement in the program, it will identify that it has to call the constructor. Next, it will go to the main function, it will display main begins. Then again another object is created, this is having the function scope. Then some operations are done, then cout this is just some section of the program. Again another object is created which is having the block scope, that is the scope of this particular object is only in between these 2 statements. Then you are closing that function, you are closing the main function and you are closing the entire program.